Alright, welcome back to another G Auto Repair YouTube video, and today we are working on a 2001 Ford Mustang 3.8 liter V6. And the complaint is that the car runs rough and it even sometimes shuts off on the customer. So I've already done a couple preliminary things real quick so the complaint is more noticeable after the car warms up and then it starts to act up. The vehicle has 244,000 miles. The customer said that he replaced all spark plugs, wires, ignition coils. He pretty much shotgunned a bunch of parts at it, and with no avail. It's still doing the same issue. So the one thing, he also did say that he replaced the fuel filter, which was super nasty. He said that when he disconnected the fuel line, all that brown junk just came out of it. So I did put a pressure gauge on the fuel rail there, and I have a little over 20 psi of fuel pressure. The specification is 35 to 65, I believe. And so right there we know we have a little bit of a fuel pressure problem. I'm pretty sure that once you drive it around, it's going to go even lower than that as you require more volume to drive the car. So right off the bat, we know we have a fuel pressure problem. So we may have to end up putting a new fuel pump or something into this vehicle. But it definitely has a crazy misfire going on. As far as the check engine light is concerned, it is on, and actually the battery light is on too. Let's see what the output is on this alternator. Just so happens I got my whatchamacallit here. So we're gonna test this out. Let's see why that light is on. Wasn't on there before. It's charging. We got 14.1 volts. So I don't know why that's on. The check engine light, he said he's taking it to the parts store where they do their free courtesy mumbo jumbo, you know, put the scanner on, and they said, oh, we got O2 sensor problems, you got TPS problem, you got an idle air control problem, and everything that they've told him, he's bought it and it hasn't fixed it. So what he has done is he's taken off the parts and putting back the original ones, but he still has them in the box inside the car. Now I would definitely recommend we go ahead and replace this because this connector is broken. This part, the TPS is broken. So whether it fixes the problem or not, I recommend we go ahead and put a new one on there. Which he has it there, we just got to install it. To make sure that connector doesn't go anywhere. So right now it seems to be relatively smooth. But as soon as it gets nice and warm, it starts to act stupid. I mean, he drove it this morning and it was running like crap, I must say. So I'm gonna let it run here for a little bit and let it start acting up. Now the pressure is low, but it's pretty steady right now. It hasn't gone down at the moment. I did drive it around earlier this morning. Accelerate, you lose a little bit of pressure, so we definitely probably need to follow up with that. But all in all, the car seems to be driving or operating idling fine right now. So I'm gonna let it warm up, see if it starts acting stupid or whatnot, and see if we can do a couple extra troubleshooting procedures. I do have my smoke machine here because I wanted to In one occasion, I was spraying a little bit of brake clean in this hose right here, and it did get better when I sprayed it in there, and I just kind of squirted across here the manifold, and it looked like it got better. So I want to test for a intake leaks as well. I don't hear nothing's catching my ear, but that doesn't mean that we don't have a leak problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect my scan tool to get the whatever codes are active right now, to see what we got going on, because I did put the scan tool last week, I believe, or the week before. He had brought it real quick like, and I kind of just took a look at it real quick, and I know it had a bunch of O2 sensor codes and a bunch of foolishness. So I'll have to reconnect that. So, but I'm just gonna let it warm up for now, and then once I got everything hooked up, I'm gonna get back on the camera. All right, so we're back. We've let the car warmed up for I don't know what, 5-10 minutes or so, and the car actually shut off on me a couple times. So I don't know if you can tell, but it is running a little crappy right now. It seems to have like a bit of a misfire here and there. I hooked up my scan tool, so I'm waiting for it to start reading. Alright, so we're just gonna go to generic OBD real quick. I'm using my older scan tool real quick here, so I don't have screen record or anything like that. So we'll let that do its thing. Now, what I was saying earlier was that I got brake clean in here. I'm actually thinking about doing a video on this thing. And you see that? It immediately oh wait. Yeah, I thought I heard something sucking in there. So I probably have vacuum leak. Maybe on the intake plenum gasket or something. I definitely felt that the engine, I am getting a reaction when I'm spraying it, so I'm definitely going with an intake leak for right now. All right, so let's see what codes we got going on here. First of all, okay, so we have O2 sensor bank 1, sensor 1, O2 sensor heater, O2 sensor circuit bank 1, sensor 2, O2 heater bank 1, sensor 2, lack of O2 sensor 1, bank 1, I guess, switch, sense indicates lean. Okay, system 2 lean, bank 2. Okay, so yeah, definitely possible to have a vacuum leak on top of the low fuel pressure. Okay, so oxygen sensor. Okay, oxygen sensor, bank 1, sensor 1, voltage, output voltage, bank 1, sensor 2, this should be bank 2, sensor 1. Okay, so we're going to show these. Let's go ahead and graph them real quick. Alright. And they're all through the floor. Yeah, definitely. Let's see what happens when we spray some of this stuff here. Let's see. Yep, there we go. That's bank 2. Yep. We definitely have a vacuum leak. We definitely have a vacuum leak. Alright, let's see, bank 1. Now I'm gonna put the smoke machine. Let's see, we got something going on in bank 1. I don't see no reaction. Okay. But bank 2 is definitely reacting to the bank 2 is definitely reacting to the brake cleaner. So we may have some problems compacting on each other here. And the code, let me see what code was it. Heater circuit bank 1, sensor 1, sensor circuit bank 1, sensor 2, O2 sensor heater circuit bank 1, sensor 2. Okay, so maybe all those O2 sensors on bank 1 are probably jacked up. I'm definitely having heater codes on that side on both sensors, so maybe they're not reading right. But right now, the most important thing that the customer's concerned about is all that stalling and all that rough running and all that foolishness that it's doing. So we're gonna go ahead and shut this off for now, and we're gonna go ahead and throw some smoke in there and see where it's coming out at. So what I'm using here is the All-Tool SDT206. I've had this for several years now and I'm very happy with it. I got some other videos using it, and it is pretty handy, and for the price you can't go wrong. Although the only complaint I have is that the pressure is the pressure gauge is not working as it should anymore. See, it doesn't read pressure anymore. So that's the only complaint I got. I don't know if I can change this separately or not, but I don't know. Other than that, for what I use it works great. I wish that didn't stop working, but it is what it is. It does produce a lot of smoke, as you can see. So there we go. We're gonna just stick that in there and see if we have any smoke coming out. It's probably gonna take a minute or two, depending on how bad the leak is. We're gonna see here. Oh wait, I'm starting to see some smoke. Oh yeah, it's definitely coming from over here somewhere. From the gaskets. Yeah, it's just pouring out of in there. It's hard to see with the camera. See if I can get a better angle. Yeah, it's coming from the injector O-rings more than likely. Yep, Just about all of them are leaking, especially that one over there. Let me see this one back here. So we got let me see, how was the I think this is 245 I think. I don't remember what the firing order or the cylinder ID was. I looked it up last time, but definitely on this bank here, bank 2, I don't remember if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's what it was, 4, 5, 6. Number 6 all the way in the back seems okay. Definitely 5 is leaking. I mean, a lot of smoke is coming out of that. And number 2 is showing some signs that it's leaking. Let's see. I don't see anything here. Here. Seems to be pretty much stuck on that side over there. Oh, it's probably difficult for you guys to see. Okay. But definitely got a leak here. Definitely. It looks like it's coming right out of the It's definitely coming out of the rings there, the valve, not the valve, but the injector O-ring. It looks like it's coming from the bottom of the injectors. So where it goes in the intake, I'm sure that's where it's leaking from. Yep. It's kind of hard to see because we got this thing in the way, but I definitely see a problem there. All right, so we definitely have low fuel pressure and an intake leak, so that will definitely cause this symptom that we're experiencing. Now, he may have other issues also that we haven't gotten to, but definitely we could start with those. I will probably even try to take care of this intake. All right, guys, so we're back with the Mustang. I spoke with the customer. He went ahead and approved the replacement of the injector O-ring seals, and he did ask that we do the O-rings first, see how the engine reacts, and then maybe follow up with the fuel pump, because he's kind of tight with funds right now. So we definitely need to deal with that low pressure. That's definitely a no-no. But he wants to he asked that I please do this first and then follow up if need be. At least he can, get around, go to work, make some money, and then come back and take care of the pump in a couple weeks or whatnot. So I just gave him my word, and I told him, okay, we'll do what we can, but we definitely need to address that low fuel pressure issue. That pressure is way too low in my opinion. I did forget to talk about something yesterday, which was fuel trims. You the viewer are probably saying, oh, what about fuel trims and this and that? Yes, this is true. Fuel trims helps us to look into fuel delivery issues. And to answer the question, the fuel trims were positive 25% on the long term, I believe, if I remember correctly. And you can determine if your issue is vacuum leak related if you observe the fuel trims while you start to accelerate. You bring the car off idle slowly and surely, and if you see the fuel trims correcting itself, then you can pretty much say, okay, we have a fuel leak problem. I'm sorry, a vacuum leak problem. So that's one thing for sure. That's one test that you can do. I didn't do it, but that is definitely one test that that you can do to kind of point into a vacuum leak direction. So I just wanted to make sure I clarified that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by removing the intake plenum and pulling the injectors out and changing the O-rings, and hopefully that will take care of that vacuum leak. I got a new plenum gasket to go with it. I did put this hose here that was missing. They just had this capped off. This is part of the PCV. Yes, there it is, right there. And it goes from here to here. That hose was missing. That was just open to the atmosphere, and that could present a problem within itself. So I decided just to put a regular little hose there and call it a day. So I may do a time lapse on this, me pulling out the whatchamacallits and whatnot. I'm not sure, but whatever happens, here we go. So enjoy. All right, so I already pulled out the fuel rail with the injectors. I cleaned out all the bores, as you probably saw on the time lapse. They look pretty good. And I already changed out the O-rings on the injectors, put new ones. I lubed them up. I changed these O-rings and these. It all came in a kit. I was debating whether to change them or not because they weren't leaking from up here. The issue was down here. But then I'm that type that I would hate to like not do something and then put it all back together. Then it really starts to leak and then I gotta take it out apart. So we're already there. We might as well just pop them out, pop some new O-rings in there. It came in the kit anyway. So there you have it. I also brushed off with a soft plastic brush the tips of the nozzles of the injectors, so just in case there's a little bit of restriction there. And it's ready to go back in. So now we're going into the installation part of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it back on time lapse and you guys can enjoy that. All right, so we're back with the Mustang, and we've went ahead and put everything back together. Now's the moment of truth. We're gonna crank it, and what I want to do is I want to go ahead and choose some PIDs here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my screen record here in a second, and we're gonna see the oxygen. Let's leave this off for now. The oxygen sensors and the fuel trims to see if we can go ahead and see the correction live. All right, so go ahead and start the vehicle. All right, so we're gonna let it warm up for a minute. Let it get nice and warm. Okay, we still got obviously low fuel pressure, so whatever. All right, so we see we got long-term fuel trims of 24% positive. We got positive 24 on both banks. And I'm starting to see negative numbers on the short fuel trim. So that's good. That is showing a correction. We're at about negative 8% on the short, 9.4 on both banks, negative 10. So we're seeing correction. There you have it. We're seeing corrections. Let me go ahead and put some graphs on this. We're seeing that the oxygen sensors are now reading. At least bank 2 is. Bank 1, I still see it 0, 0. Or 0.0, I should say. So that tells me that I believe we're still having issues on those O2 sensors. So we're probably gonna have some issues out of bank 1. But bank 2 was about the same, running lean the whole time. Now we see some rich. What I want to see some fluctuations, but I gotta wait for the car to warm up first. But definitely we're already at negative 18% on both banks. That is definitely a correction. That gives us a total fuel trim number of about positive 4, positive 3, somewhere around there, which is very well acceptable. So we're good. I still don't like that fuel pressure, but overall the vehicle seems to be driving fine on that fuel pressure for right now. We're gonna let it get nice and hot and see what happens. But there we go. Now we're seeing some action here in the O2 sensor, bank 2 sensor 1. I see some fluctuations. That's good. Bank 2 sensor 2, I also seeing that it's very similar to what sensor 1 is doing. I see some similarities, so I'm pretty sure this is going to set a catalytic efficiency code eventually, because I see a little bit of fluctuation there. It's trying to mimic sensor 1. So sensor 2 should be pretty much flatlined somewhere around the middle, around 0.4, 0.5, 0.7, somewhere around there. It should be flatlining. It should be very pretty much flatlined, and I'm not seeing that. What I'm seeing is that you see these little peaks right here, a peak here, and it kind of blimps up. It's somewhat flatlined, but it's trying to mimic the sensor 1. So I wouldn't be surprised if this comes back with a catalytic converter code. But as of right now, the vehicle is running very steady. I'm not getting that crazy misfire, and I'm definitely getting a fuel trim correction. So our biggest culprit here was gonna be that vacuum leak. So I am happy and I'm satisfied about that. Still not too convinced on the fuel pressure, but we're gonna go test drive and see how it reacts. If it's running relatively well, the customer asks that we just leave it alone, forget about the fuel pump for now. He'll come back at a later date and take care of that, because money is an issue for him right now. So I totally get it. So we can see the long-term fuel trims are starting to come down. We're at 18, 15% positive. So, and we're still seeing large negative numbers on the short term. So it's trying to correct itself. So all is well. I'm gonna accelerate a little bit. Stop playing with the pedal. My son is playing with the pedal while I'm trying to do something here, so. Yeah, see how that see how those O2 sensors are mimicking each other very closely. So I'm definitely expecting to see catalytic efficiency codes here shortly. Without a doubt. Alrighty. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I want to go ahead and clear the codes. I know there's some that are going to come back, especially these O2 sensor codes, and these system to lean codes should go away. O2 sensor codes are going to stay, maybe even followed by a catalytic efficiency code, maybe at least on bank 2 for sure. Bank 1, the O2 sensors, I don't think they're working, so the computer's probably not even going to register that for now. So let me go ahead and erase. Let me see if it'll erase it without turning off the engine. Did the check engine light go out? Huh? Okay. Turn off the car. Turn the ignition on.
Start the engine?
No, just turn on the ignition, please. Okay. Read codes. Okay, I don't know why this does this every now and then like this. Unable to communicate. It was communicating fine. I don't know why it does that. I've ran into this a couple times. I'm gonna have to find out why it seems to be doing that. I can go into live data just fine, but for some reason, go ahead and start the vehicle, please.
Getting a service engine soon, light.
Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Alright, that That power steering pump is whining. Maybe it's low in fluid. I'll double check it. But anyways, that's it for right now. We're gonna go ahead and button this up real briefly. I want to go on a test drive, see how she drives. I'm gonna let it warm up for a little bit longer, and then I'll come back on with the test drive. All right, so we're test driving the Mustang, and so far it seems to be operating better, definitely better. Okay, I can't go too fast because it also does not have any brake pads. These brakes are metal to metal. I don't know if you guys can hear that grinding. I don't know if you guys can hear that grinding on the video, but man, it makes me clench my teeth every time I hear it. So I'm definitely not gonna push this too fast. It seems to be idling fine. It's driving relatively well, at least at the speed that I'm going. And I'm gonna let the customer make the determination. He's probably not gonna go for the fuel pump right away. So whatever. We're gonna have to come back to that because I'm still not too fond of that fuel pressure. Like I said, the specifications were supposed to be 35 to 65, and I'm getting 20. So I guess it's enough to keep the car running, but eventually it's probably gonna get worse and worse until you really do have to change the pump. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this a wrap for right now, and I'll follow up if I do the fuel pump. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, you found it informative. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video. Ciao. All right, we're back with an update on the Mustang. So yesterday, after I finished recording, you know, we had observed a few trims, and I saw some corrections, and I was happy with it. The car seemed to be running pretty smooth, excellent, wonderful, and I concluded my video. Well, then when I went to go turn it back on, it started acting all type of stupid again. So I decided, well, I tried, let's go ahead and put the fuel pump in there. But I was kind of curious to know why. I mean, why it would run fine, and then all of a sudden, after it gets nice and hot, and then, you know, it starts acting stupid all of a sudden. I was kind of baffled by that part. I knew it needed a fuel pump. As we can see here, the fuel pressure is completely different than what it was. We were at less than 20 actually. We're about at 18 psi. Between 20 and 18 psi. Now we're well above 57, around around 57 psi. So that is excellent. I'm gonna be posting some pictures that I took when I dropped the tank of the fuel pump and all that stuff. And so just stay tuned for that. What I did is I had to go, I was at Port Everglades doing some work over there, and I came back home last night, and I kind of scratching my head. I said, well, why is this happening? Well, after observing the scan tool and some PIDs for you know, a few minutes, I kind of figured it out. What was happening was that as long as the car stayed in closed loop, the PCM was compensating for a low fuel pressure, and that was reflected by positive numbers. Because even though we saw initially some correction, later I saw those numbers going back positive. I mean, very positive. So I already knew I needed a fuel pump. I mean, that wasn't even a question. So what happens is, system, for whatever reason, while it was nice and hot, it would I don't know if this is a strategy or maybe because I have some bad O2 sensors, which that needs to be addressed as well. Both of bank 1 sensors are shot. The harness has been cut, removed, and bank 1 sensor 1 has been disconnected, but the connector has been laid resting on the manifold, on the catalytic converter, exhaust, whatever, and it has somewhat melted, so it's useless. That connector is useless. So it looks like they try to weld some stuff. Maybe they, you know, emptied out the catalytic converter, or who knows what they've done to this car. But the point is that neither one of those two sensors are working. So what I'm thinking is it's using a strategy to use at least the good side to correct both sides at once. I'm not sure if that's true. I don't know how the engineers do this stuff, but I think that may be a strategy, because as you can see, I am getting fuel trims on both banks, even though in bank 1 none of the sensors are working, but yet they mimic, both sides do exactly the same. So that's why I came to that conclusion that it's at least using bank 2 to correct for bank 1 as well, assuming that everything is the same on both banks. But anyway, back to the mumbo jumbo here. Yeah, after a while I would observe here that it would go to open loop, and once it would go to open loop, I would get 0, 0, 0, 0 on long and short trim fuel trims, 0, and the car will start running bad. And it'll start running bad. Once this goes back to closed loop, it'll start correcting itself, and it'll slowly, gradually get better until it kind of corrects itself, and then it goes back to closed open loop, and then it starts the process all over again. So that was the kicker there. Every time the system will go into open loop, no fuel correction, because it ignores the oxygen sensors. It ignores the oxygen sensors. It goes to 0 correction. Obviously there's no pressure, or very low fuel pressure, therefore the computer's not compensating, therefore the car is starving for fuel, which we already knew that from the very beginning anyway. So, but that was a bit of a head scratcher there for a few minutes, but I figured it out why it was doing that. I knew it needed a fuel pump regardless, but I was wondering, well, why does it run fine when it's like cold, and then all of a sudden, you know, when it gets nice and hot, it starts acting stupid. So right now I've test drove it 2 times around the area in the block. I'm not even contemplating going any further with this car because there are no brakes. That side is completely shot. It's metal to metal. The customer knows this. He said he's gonna deal with that on his own, whatever. I'm not taking this car on the highway. Sorry, it's not me. Yeah, it's enough that I'm going around the block in it. So I drove it a couple times. I turned it off, turned it back on, did this, and it's perfect. So there you have it. The fuel pump, vacuum leak, everything is compacting on each other, and that's why this vehicle was running like crap. And literally it was running like crap. It would even shut off at some time. So again, thanks for hanging in there. I'm gonna put some pictures, I don't know, during or at the end, I don't know where I'm gonna put them, but just a couple snapshots I took of the fuel pump. I did find where the damage was, why I was getting low pressure, and I put a new fuel pump that took care of that. Bada bing, bada boom, problem has been solved. So again, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video. Ciao.